Hey, how's everybody doing? For those of you who are going to be watching the VOD or just popping in, my name is Dex Tokoyasu, and we're going to just have a nice calm night tonight for like the next hour or so, and just, ooh, almost knocked my crackers over. Drop my crackers on the floor. We're just going to spend a little bit talking, just in general, nothing crazy, and we'll go from there. So let me see here. What is all that? What is this? What is this thing here? Okay, well, weird. Anyway, sorry. I hurried back to get everything all set up, and I haven't had a chance to actually tweak the settings on my new rigging, so I apologize if it looks a little weird. But hopefully by the next stream on Wednesday, I'm going to have this all nice and looking. It's going to look like smooth as silk. But I wanted to thank my papa, as they say, Kevin X, for getting it done over the weekend. Like, just the freedom of movement right now is actually better. Like, I can actually go like this. I mean, I know it's kind of weird, but the fact that I can move my mouth right and left like that, I can even puff my cheeks. You know, this, when I start actually doing some karaoke streams, that's going to be huge, especially when because I really want to, like I keep saying, I want to do opera streams, and I'm going to have my mouth opened and wide open in order to get the resonance and stuff, so it'll be good to see that reflected. But I just wanted to talk in general tonight, mostly to get a chance to use the new rigging, see how it performs, and because this is, in order to use this new rigging, I have to use another application too called VBridger, and it has a lot more dynamic movement to the mouth and the face, so it requires a lot of tweaking, and I'm gonna have to read up on it a little bit more. But you know, we'll get the tweaks worked out of it. But I'm really, yeah, I mostly just wanted to talk about. Well, mostly I just wanted to kind of get a feel for actually doing more of these Zaibatsu streams. Just chatting, because I'm not very good at having conversations with myself. Well, I could talk to myself for hours if I really needed to, but it's more or less trying to have a conversation. So I thought I would actually start talking about, like, let's just, I should just say, I hope your day's been good. God, how long are we into the stream already? And I'm just saying that? Oh my God, man. Mine's been busy. It's pretty much every day's busy. But, yeah, it's, I got a deadline, same as anybody else. My night job is working okay. Excuse me, take a sip of that sake here. And, I hope yours is actually going too good too. I know Friday was annoying. Friday frustrated me like you wouldn't believe it, because I really wanted to do the stream. I wanted to talk about anime, and the fact that the computer just crashed on me, like, I can't even describe. Like, it was frustrating. Like, 1 minute I'm talking, all of a sudden, boom, black screen, nothing. No blue screen, no nothing. And it's like, you can't do anything with that, and it wouldn't start back up. I'm like, well, I guess we're not streaming anymore tonight. But I figured, well, you know what, it'll work. I'll do another one on Monday. But the cool thing was, I reached out and I said, hey, Kevin X, could you upgrade my rigging? I have some VOD ideas. And I kind of mentioned that on Twitter a little bit, I'm trying to come up with ways to promote myself a lot better. Like, right now, I don't. I have like four VODs, and that's it. One is a clip I put together from one of the, I shouldn't say one of. Yeah, well, actually, yeah. From one of the early Sekiro streams. Where it was actually pretty cool, and that the big boss, the chained ogre, there threw me, and actually instead of throwing me all over the edge, I ended up landing on the tree trunk, so that was kind of cool. And I did a couple dad joke ones, and I thought they actually got some good reception, but it kind of frustrated me when, like, a couple days after I did the second one, like, all of a sudden all these other VTubers are doing dad jokes too, and I'm like, I know it's not me, but the fact that it's happening is kind of frustrating. I'm like, It's like, I'm trying to do something new here, people, and you can't be taking it from me, please. I'm new at this. But it is kind of funny that that's how everything happened. So yeah, I'm trying to do some stuff that incorporates how I got here, what happened after I got here. So, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. I've got to figure out how to get the effects and the recording and all that stuff. But when it's done, we'll hopefully it hopefully goes well. Beyond that, let me see. I had all these ideas in my head. One of the VTuber I watch a lot of, is Cozy Chew. For those of you who don't know, I believe she just signed with Kawa Entertainment. I think she did. Let me double check here. Cozy. Sorry, my arms are like, Cozy Chew. Cozy. Goodness sake. It's always funny when it doesn't work with me like this. YouTube. Cozy Chew. I'm pretty sure she's with Kawa. Because she was indie for the longest time, for a bunch of years. And now all of a sudden, now she's with Kawa. And the cool thing is the agency she's with lets you keep your identity. Oh yeah, she is with Kawa. Okay. She's wonderful. She's funny. Real sweet. She's an alpaca. So it's kind of funny to see an alpaca. I didn't realize there were VTubers like that. But then I realized there were slime VTubers, and and of course I'm a half kitsune, half human, so I can't really say anything. But she did a stream recently that talked about how difficult it is to be a VTuber, how difficult it is to do a VTubing, and I really appreciated it because it really, really reinforced a lot of the difficulties that I've been having trying to get used to this. Please understand, I've never done streaming, obviously. I've watched streamers, I've watched VTubers. The very first group of VTubers, like I said, was EN, especially from that Mother's Basement video that I showed in the one Just Chatting stream where it was about, anyway. And that was only like about a year ago, a little over a year ago, maybe. So, and I only just started doing this back in March 21st, I think was my debut day. Still get a lot of great hits on the VOD. So I'm happy people watch it, but nobody watches it. Nobody watches it all the way through, which is like, you know what? Okay, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. It's kind of disappointing, but it's not surprising because there are people that do watch it all the way through, but they get about to near the end, and it's like that's like the offline part where the music plays. I'll tell you straight up, I tend to let the intro play and the outro music play because I really want to feature the musicians that do this. I had the BGM playing. There we go. Okay. I just had it really quiet. So this, yeah, because I have the musicians in the notes for the stream here. But I'll tell you, it's funny, now that I'm actually doing these kind of streams and looking through the metrics for the YouTube videos, it really shows a lot. And it's funny trying to decipher the best stuff that works for people. That I think is one of the hardest parts. Well, aside from coming up with content. And what I think works will work 1 week and then it just doesn't work the next week. Just to give some ideas here, like the videos. What in the world's going on here? Okay, live. Oh yeah, I'm on the second page. Like for instance, the very first Frostpunk video got 15 views, which for me is decent. But the next one got 6. I'm like, oh, okay. Then there was a bunch of, because I was doing Mountain Blade for a while, because I love the game, I do, but I also understand how it's a hard one to watch, and I can see why some people might not be interested in it because it is very slow building. The first the first stream really got 17 views, and then it got 4 for the next one. So I'm like, well, I guess we know how people feel about that one. But then the next one got 5, and then I got 7. And then the next one got 17, and then 14, 14, and then 4. And the 4 drop was a surprise drop. I was surprised by that. And that's the tough part too, because I'm dealing with the YouTube algorithm. So the more you play with your content, the harder it is for YouTube to figure out what to put you out as. So, because and for anybody who has great illusions of what YouTube is just one big algorithm. It really is. And that's been one of the hardest things when I made the decision to start streaming on YouTube, was do I go with Twitch or do I go with YouTube? And I've kind of addressed it a couple times, but I thought I'd just say it again. Like, Twitch is built for streaming. 100% absolutely is built for streaming. And if I wanted to grow fast, I think I would have had a lot more success on Twitch. That said, I find the community stuff extremely difficult to handle. Because I do watch a couple of streamers on Twitch. I watch Coefficient Nags. There's God, my quote unquote sisters, who are actually Ruzu, I believe is how you say her name. She's a dragon VTuber. And then there's another Fox Kitsune, Stella, Vixen Stella, I believe her name is. I watch them on occasion too, to kind of show support, you know, because we have the same papa. And they've grown tremendously, you know, and again, they're really good too. So I think a lot of it still stems from the fact that I'm just so new at this, and and I'm having a hard time trying to come up with stuff that people want to see. I have gotten nice comments, which is nice. Yeah, nice comments are nice. People saying that, you know, in the people that stop by in the chat, really nice, really wonderful. And I had somebody leave a comment saying that if I was on Twitch, they'd watch me a lot more. And I'm like, yeah, I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. But I think I'm going to stick with YouTube for a while. It's more about playing the long game, I think. And that was something that Cozy Chew and, for those of you that don't know him, Randon, I can't remember his last name, but he was an Orc VTuber, Orc Salaryman. I love the guy. I subbed to him and I subbed to Cozy. And for the longest time, Cozy was actually doing this podcast-like show where she would have a guest on. They talked for like an hour or two, I should say. But Randon, they went on like for 2 hours about the difficulty of streaming on YouTube. And this was like from a couple years ago, I think. A lot of things have changed recently. YouTube got their version of raids, I think is what they call it on Twitch. There's gifted subs. So there's some things coming over from Twitch to YouTube, which is good to see that YouTube is actually improving, but YouTube is still YouTube. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad. And, you know, for those of you that don't follow it, I like a lot of I like ASMR. So I was frustrated when I was watching what happened to what was her name? Cozy ASMR. I can't remember. She was a VTuber, but she does ASMR. False ID covered her for a couple sessions because somebody was literally stealing her content, making it as their own, and then copy struck her channel, the original author's channel. And it was insane watching this. This is like, how in the world can somebody do this? Now, eventually YouTube got it straightened out, but a lot of damage was done in the time frame. And, you know, that's the problem when you work with a company whose focus is primarily on algorithms. You know, let computers do the work first, and you know, then leave it for manual review. I can see some benefit to that. And so for those people who don't know, I don't know if I mentioned on my debut, for my evening job, because I work at my recording studio from usually around 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. and then from 2 to 11:30 I work at my night job, and then from 11:30 to 3:30 in the morning I'm back here in the recording studio. And this is where I'm eking out a little bit of streaming time to just get some experience and to build up the channel. So my evening job, I work as an interactive project manager. And for people who don't know what that is, that's where you actually manage a software development team and you build like internal applications or something like that. And that's what we focus on, a company's internal propriety developed management software. So I'm going back into that, moving back into leading that team again. For the longest time, I was managing our storefronts and website and social media and stuff. But they wanted to redirect, and so that's what happens. But I mentioned that because when you work as a project manager, you are open to a lot more of metrics, into a lot of different things. So I think I lost my train of thought. There was a point to that. God, I only had just one cup of sake. It couldn't have been that. Oh. Well, let's finish this cup off. Make sure it's that. Oh yeah, YouTube, yeah. So the reason why I brought that up is because I understand actually the reasoning behind having software be your first line defense, your first tier 1 support, basically. You don't have to have a huge amount of people, and our software is only for a 200-person company, 200+ people company. YouTube is huge. YouTube has so many customers, it's frightening. And I would hate to think that they have the number of people they'd have to have on staff to do customer support. Flip side of the coin, though, is when you rely almost completely on automation, and we have the copyright system and stuff like that. Like, if you're really interested, I highly recommend. I can actually, let me see if I can bring him up. Hang on, let me scooch over here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. There is, do I have my window capture? Yeah, I do have my window capture. Oh, where'd it go? Hello? Well, I did have window capture. Let's get rid of this one and put a new one in. Okay. So, youtube.com. This is going to be funny because it has none of my channels, so I have no idea what's going to pop up. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Nothing bad at all. So, come on, search. Oh, for goodness sake. I should have turned my search short. Legal. My arm! I can't control it. Sorry. Let me see here. Okay, let me put a browser window in again, because I thought I had that and it didn't go. Screenshot. No, not that one. I want a window capture. Window capture. That's what I want. Right there, baby. Yeah. All right. Put that in. Where'd it go? Oh, seriously? I hate it when it does that. Properties. Nope. Boom. There we go. So let's see if it shows up. And it... Hello? Where is it? For goodness sake. Really? Where is it? Fine. We'll do it the hard way. I'll have to use a new one. Let's just create a new one. Fine, we'll create a new one. Capture 2. Okay, there we go. Woo, that's a big one right there. Boom! Oh, that worked. Hang on. Let me zoom this down. Here. Okay. Zoop. And... okay. There we go. Oh, man. Okay, there we go. Kinda. So, the channel how am I? The channel I recommend is Legal. Oh, no. This guy's really cool. Absolutely really cool. The reason I say is because he does all these really cool things talking about, like, not just things that are happening in the Supreme Court or in legal precedents that are being in courts, like this, oh goodness, what do you call them? Like Circuit Court of Appeals and stuff. But he actually also talks about, like, does these lawyering, these episodes like Real Lawyer Reacts to South Park Chewbacca Defense, or this was a really good one here, My Cousin Vinny. Like when he actually talks about how accurate the show, the movie actually was. I love it. I love the movie too. But the reason why I pointed out is because he actually talks about, and let me see, he's got some playlists here. I'm pretty sure one of them. He actually also, and this is cool too, he actually put out a legal course specifically for content creators about copyright use. So I 100% recommend. I think he still got it because I'm pretty sure I paid for it, and I know I see it. Okay, so he's got this one here, which is copyright issues. Okay, I thought I had more in it. That's just the one thing. This was actually a good thing, and as a musician myself, seeing that somebody sued because of four notes staccato, it was like ostinato, drove me nuts. I'm like, you cannot copyright 4 notes. But legal entertainment, there's some really good things, and he has talked about where is it? Law 101, the law explained. So he's done some really good ones about like copyright and this is actually talking about legal car mods and stuff like that. So he does a lot of different stuff, and he's been doing this for 12 years, I think he said. 12 or 13 years he's been a practicing attorney, and that's really cool. So he actually knows what the hell he's doing, or what he's talking about, I should say. And he tries to stay as apolitical as possible, because he'd rather let the law speak for itself, which I respect 100%. But let's see. So he actually outright explained the reason why YouTube and other platforms like YouTube had to do things the way they did as far as copyright, going all the way back to the 80s or the 90s, when because I grew up in the 90s, and I remember the cartoons and stuff that were basically over-glorified commercials and stuff for toys. Best shows, man, I tell you. Transformers, G.I. Joe, love them. But after that, a lot of laws got put into place to prevent companies from advertising to kids. There was a whole big thing a few years ago, I think before everything that happened, and YouTube did a lot of changes that unfortunately really hit. And I'm just kind of scrolling through just to see if I could find it here. But I'm not finding it. Nope. A lot of stuff about the recent thing, everything recently. Goodness gracious, a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of shorts too, which is good. Where's the copyright stuff? Oh boy. Idiocracy gets lowered. But there was a point where YouTube actually really had to change the algorithm in order to factor in, so people couldn't, children weren't getting advertised to, and YouTube shot themselves in the foot, because they actually were they have YouTube Kids, which, and for everyone that signs up for YouTube, it's like you have to be 13 years or older in order to actually use YouTube. The reason being is because of these child protection laws. But YouTube also was advertising that they had this huge basis of children under 13 that could be advertised to on YouTube. Not YouTube Kids, but on YouTube. So, of course, the FCC goes, dudes, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing this. And hit YouTube with this whole thing, forcing YouTube to change their algorithm. And really, because again, a lot of stuff is by algorithm, they dumped a lot of the onus on content creators, which really YouTube should have been the ones to shoulder it. COPPA, that's it. Child Online Privacy Protection Act. Yes, I found it. Yeah, it's, hang on, should I just, not that it really matters, but this one right here, COPPA. So this is one of the big reasons why, in many ways, YouTube is the way it is, as far as copyright and stuff. Well, for kids at least. But in order for them to maintain the way he explained it, in order for them to maintain what's called a free harbor status, where they aren't held accountable for the content that is put on their platform, they have to respond to copyright requests for takedown immediately, or they could potentially be sued. And then it's up to really the content creator to push back and say, no, this is for fair use. You know, like you have groups like everything great about everything great about movies. They use it for they have fair use usage, but they're still copyright claimed, especially on like the DreamWorks movies, like Kung Fu Panda series. The poor guy keeps saying, it's like, you guys copyright claim me every time, but I'm still gonna make them because I love your movies. So anyway, all of this ties back into one of the main things about me choosing to be on YouTube versus Twitch. And that's been really the toughest part, has been trying to figure out, you know, was this the right choice? And I'm sticking and going again to when Cozy, Chew, and Randon were talking. They talked about from Randon had done, I know I'm getting on the spiderwebbing. I know I'm spiderwebbing. I'm sorry. I will get all my loose ends tied up. But in the podcast that I was talking about, Randon talked about how he did some experimentation between Twitch and YouTube. How he did like a week or two on Twitch to see how it would affect his YouTube channel. And he saw the rate drop drastically because he wasn't on YouTube, wasn't producing content. He gained followers on Twitch, but they didn't come over to YouTube. His followers on YouTube, however, did go over to Twitch to watch him. So that's one of the interesting things I've seen a lot of content creators mention, is like, people from YouTube will go to Twitch to watch you, but people from Twitch typically won't go from Twitch to YouTube to watch you. So there's very platform loyalty, a lot of it too. So that was, I was trying to think very much about, am I picking the right platform? And you're dealing with one monolithic mega, multi-billion-dollar corporation, Google, or Alphabet now, I guess, whatever they're called, versus another multi-billion-dollar corporation, Amazon, who owns the servers and owns basically Twitch. Who do you go with? Which mega core do you want to go with? And neither platform has, perfect platform. Twitch has its problems, the same as YouTube has problems. And so I think I've made the right choice so far, but I'm not using the platform the way it could be. Hang on, I'm going to slide over. Slide. Ooh, all right. Yeah. And it really comes down to metrics. It really comes down to, am I using the algorithm to its benefit? And that really means coming down to making VODs. I've actually hired an editor to do a couple VODs for me, so you'll see some of those coming out. She went through and was really gracious to go through all the VODs. I feel bad for her because I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I have a hard time doing it myself. Not watching it, but finding things that I think are clippable. And she found some things, especially some of the recent stuff. Like when I went on a rant about Bubblegum Crisis, I think, or Sword Art Online, I think it was. She's like, I think that'll work good. That'll generate some conversation. I'm like, okay, all right, that works. And something else she picked too. So hopefully we'll see those soon. It'll be interesting to see how people react to them, because these are actually going to be well done edited. Not my janky ones that I did, like, the Unchained Ogre saved me, and it looks like a 5-year-old edited it. Which is sad, because I do this actually for another company. I do far better for them than I do for my own channel. Oh, it's not right. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but it's just so sad and it's so true. Hey, I'm getting a cracker in it. I don't want to get drunk, because that's the last thing I need to get drunk. Oh my God. My model chews. Oh, I'm not going to get used to this. Sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full. That's so rude. So, sorry. I'll wash it down. Oh. Oh man, that was good. That was a good cracker. It was a saltine. What am I saying? Good cracker. But speaking of other VTubers, if anybody watched the new Hollow Stars guy, their debut, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't really rip them because of their artwork, but I was a little disappointed with his style. It was just something that I couldn't put my finger on. And Kozichu actually made a good point. She does her own art. She's been doing her own models for years now and done her own rigging and her design. So props to her for that. But one thing she pointed out to me on Twitter, was that it might be due to the fact that the artist had never done rigging designs for Live 2D. And I was like, it's got to be it. It's got to be an inexperience, because to me it seemed like the designs were overly detailed. Like they needed another pass or two through, like, you know, when I was taking painting courses, like one of the things that what my instructor always used to say was, you know, when you're kind of stuck, flip it over upside down and then take a step back and look at it, because you're changing your perspective. And a lot of times you'll see things that you don't see while staring at it right side up, because you're too invested in it, you're too focused on specific points. So I've really taken that to heart in anything and everything, and it applies to anything and everything. If you're writing a story, you know, I've kind of taken the point, you know, start at the back and work your way, you know, to the front. And it's janky to do it that way, but I've like read a chapter, then go back a chapter. That way you can kind of see how they tie together. Whereas reading, you know, from chapter 1 to chapter 5, say, you can kind of justify it, but going the other way kind of points out some of the inconsistencies, you know? I don't know. But it's that the ability to self-critique and to see when you have definite problems and you're not catching it because you're just too close to, too invested. So, again, I was actually surprised. The people they got to do, the talent they got, really good. I'm actually really impressed with their quality. And I can't prove it, but I'm going to say this. The fourth guy who's got the long gray hair and glasses, the voice sounds so familiar. I know who it is. I'm not going to say it because, you know, it's one of those unspoken rules. You don't talk about a talent's previous life, or you don't talk about their alternate self. They have two personas, you know. They don't have an indie and then they have their, you know, corporate one. But if it is him, I am so happy that this guy has come out of retirement and is now joined Hololive, because he is so sweet, so fun to watch. His Just Chatting streams are beautiful, and I'm so happy, if it is him, that he's gotten into Hololive. I think if anybody deserves it, absolutely is this guy. So I was disappointed I didn't get a first kick, but I'm not surprised. I wouldn't pick me either, basically. But I'm really glad that he's on there. And the other guys, and they all have done a phenomenal job too. Absolutely. So I'm really impressed with the first crew of Hollow Stars EN. So, you know, awesome. I'm really happy that Hollow Stars is kind of getting an injection of energy like this. Because I'll tell you, I don't get the chance to do it that much, but I do love catching clips from the other Hollow Stars VODs, or streams I should say, especially Roburu. The whole Roburu Night Mea series is my all-time favorite. Oh my god, you if you haven't watched it, you have to watch it, because it's just so hilarious. Oh, Noir Vesper Noir, yeah, okay. It's right on the front page of this. All right, sweet. What was I saying? Oh god, I just saw them. But I absolutely love watching the Roburu Night Mea videos. They are hilarious. Maya, oh, what is her first? Obviously both of them are JP because Roboru is and Maya is. I'm actually subbed to Maya, and I don't know why I'm blanking on her name, but hang on, let me see if I can get Maya. Well, anyway, she, if you watch her stream when she's alone, when she's solo, man, she is, anything will come out. I swear to God, it's like, what? I don't know if she's indie or if she's with another, or not. She's not with Hololive, and it shows absolutely. It's like, I swear, it's like watching Niji Sanji in a way. That's like, oh, we're talking about your bowel movements. Okay, this is gonna be that kind of a stream. Great. But if anybody's been able to handle her, it's been Roboru. And he's done such a phenomenal job. I laugh when I see the two of them going off of each other. And the whole, oh my God, I really should play one. But I don't want to take away the view count from these Clippers streams. But God bless you, the Clippers who I think it's Oborotai is one. Oborotai does some great clips from Roboru and some of the other Hollow Stars, but they translate to English. God bless you, man. God bless you. Because I think he was one that translated the ones with Bay, Hekos Bales, who was on Roboru's and Ruba's Bar for a while, and did a wonderful job. She actually, I think she actually called out, she likes the Roboru Night Maya too. But my God, it's funny. Like the first one I saw was the one where Maya, I swear to God, I think she's the one that put the marshmallow question through. I don't know. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she did. But it was like somebody wanted to see, was really rooting for the two of them. And they wanted supposedly to see a reenactment of what it would be like for the two of them if they were, I guess, together, and she was cooked really well. And poor Roboru, he's like, yeah, I shouldn't have asked you, had you read that. I should never had you read that one. And she's like, laugh. And she's got this dirty old man laugh. It's hilarious. I absolutely love it whenever she starts laughing. Like, she's got that deep belly laugh. But he treated the whole thing like it was basically like a questionnaire, like, okay, you want to become my roommate? Okay, I got some questions for you. And by the end of it, he goes, I am going to have to reject you. I'm sorry. And then she starts screaming, and it's just funny as hell to watch that. Oh, hey, Vucky, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, Maya just goes up, and then Roboru actually, he goes, the funny thing is, I can't have you as a roommate, but you'd actually make a decent girlfriend. And the whole thing just evolved from there. And the two of them be able to handle each other, and it's just wonderful. So I absolutely love watching the clips of Roboru Night Maya that way. Let me see. How you doing, Vucky? Have you had a good day? Thank you for stopping by again. I might take another sip of sake and drink some water. I'm just talking about random stuff. Doing pretty good. Let's see. Can't really complain. I always say there's no point in complaining anyway. It's not going to change anything. But no, I think it's going good. And yeah, is it like daytime for you? I know it's like almost 1 a.m. for me. So I didn't, if you're getting ready to bed, or you're just waking up, or you're at work or whatever. Oh yeah, it's good sake. Excuse me. But I actually kind of got nervous about my stream tonight because there's that new Scarlet Yonaguni from Niji Sanji, and I swore when I first was scheduling the stream. 3 minutes to 1 a.m. Oh, okay. So you're Eastern too. Nice. Yeah, I was only planning on running until 1 a.m., but I'm probably gonna I've got a couple other just thoughts in my mind, so I'll still run for a little bit longer. But I was kind of worried that Scarlet, that one of the new Niji Sanji talent where was going to do a version, was it 2.0 debut tonight, and I'm like, oh god, nobody's going to watch at all. But then I noticed that she'd already did it last night, and I'm like, oh thank god, I don't have to compete against that. Oh man. Let me see. What was it talking about? I hate it when I lose my train of thought. Damn it. So yeah, I've got hopefully some decent VOD ideas coming up. I gotta get those done. And I was so excited that my rigging could get updated too. I still gotta actually get the settings right, because the settings aren't quite right yet. But hopefully by my next stream it'll actually look a lot smoother, a lot more natural. Because it still has the old settings from my previous rigging, so I know it's not right at all. But hopefully Wednesday will. Wednesday I'm planning on doing Shifu again. I want to keep going with the story. I love the game. I can't stop raving about it. It's got its problems, but man, the art style, the fact it feels like you're literally playing a wuxia or like a Jackie Chan movie. It's just the intro alone made me so excited. Like, you have the credits going over, you actually fighting each of the bosses behind the credits, and I'm like, dude, that is such a creative choice. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. And the color was so, the models are really like not terribly detailed, but it fits this painterly kind of aspect. I love it. So it'll be interesting to see how the game progresses. But aside from that, then I plan to do another talking stream on Friday. I might also do some Duolingo too. Not sure, but yeah, trying to work on building up my conversational skills, which is going to take some time because I'm not used to talking. Oh man. So what brings you by, Lucky? Just did you do just a random search on YouTube and I popped up, or you see one of the announcements on Twitch or on Twitter, or I'm always curious about how people find me. Let me see. Crap, I lost my space here on the website. Ah, what was I looking at? Where is it here? Where is it? Come on. Ah. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Jeez, I almost thought I lost my internet connection for a second there. Friday night I lose my computer. The last thing I need is my internet go down again tonight. Oh man. But I really kind of want to tie in some ways my lore and stuff like that. So and the funny thing is, I'll tell you straight up, I'm one of those people that will write up a 30-page character bio for a D&D character I'm playing. So I've always found that most of the DMs I play with either love me or hate me for that. But I did the same thing for me like this here. There's like I was looking for a random Frenchie to explain what confit de foin is. Huh. Well, it's been a long time since I spoke French. God, what is it? Confit. That's like it's a French dish if I remember correctly. De foin. What is de foin? I'm trying to think here. Let me see. Oh, it's a jelly. Hay jelly. Interesting. Okay. C'est les jardins de Marie au pied de foin. Quel dommage. C'est bon. J'ai parlé en français un peu. J'ai étudié français pour 3 ou 4 ans dans l'école, I believe. So it's been years since I actually had to break it out. And I'll tell you, the last time I spoke French was me trying in Montreal. No, it wasn't Quebec. We weren't in Quebec yet. Was it Toronto? It was one of those non-Canadian French cities before you get to Quebec. And I spoke French to a guy there when I was ordering food, and he literally says to me, "Candied, hey, but how I don't believe you can make jam. You know you can make jam for the weirdest stuff." I swear, if it can be ground up and have pectin put into it, I swear you can jelly it. What is it used for, though? That's the thing. Citron. So it's actually like a citrusy kind of. That's weird. I am very confused by this. Oh, the entire site's in French. Okay, so it's a fruit. It's like garden herbs. Simple and for a pleasant surprise, for a wonderful surprise. Huh. I have never had this. And I swear every stream somebody teaches me something new. Like I never even heard of this. Interesting. Confit de foin. I wonder how readily available it is. I'm kind of curious what it tastes like. Like if this is actually made from hay, like my goodness gracious, like cows have to chew this stuff for like an hour or so, chew it in a cut. This is every site's in French too. That's the best part. I'm really kind of curious what do you use it with? Okay, here we go. Here's an English site. I'm really kind of curious what this is. You don't have any of open food facts. That doesn't tell me jack squat. Our hay coffee is produced in partnership with Andre Jupitin, Mark Workshop, Round Jamaica, and Norman. Really? That's weird. Normandy and Hubert and Lobby. Original natural products very suitable to accompany foie gras. Many cheeses or can simply be eaten on a slice of bread. Huh. Is a product without coloring, without preservatives, without adding aroma. Well, then what does it bring to the party? Made from an infusion of 51.5% hay, to which is added organic crystal sugar. Okay, so there's a little bit of sweetness. The fruit pectin you need. Okay, that's to give it the bindiness. Organic lemon concentrate, 0.5. Okay, so there's a bit of a citrus and the fruit pectin. The fruit pectin doesn't bring much to it. Huh. 95% water, organic hay, 5%. The infusion is composed of. Okay. Choose I don't eat foie gras, so but apparently you can put it on toast. I was kind of worried that this might be like what's that Australian one there? Oh god. Oh man, I'm blanking on it. It's this really nasty stuff, and I'm blanking. But this doesn't sound like it's nasty. This sounds like it has a minimal taste to it. Maybe a slight citrus. Surprising. Cool. All right. I'm not expecting that. So you're just staying up late? I know you're looking for like the interesting confit de foin. Vegemite. Yes. Thank you. Oh my God. Vegemite. I made the mistake of having that once. Oh man. But then, of course, the best part is the guy from Australia who's giving it to me. He's like, Dex, dude, you're only supposed to put a tiny bit on, not like slather the toast. I'm like, I thought it was like a jam. I didn't know what it was. Oh God, I can't even describe the taste. Oh man. It's one of those things where it's like, I may not remember exactly what the taste was, but I remembered, oh, it was not pretty. But I think to his point though, it's kind of like if you take a lot of wasabi and you don't know what you're doing and you slather it on, you're just begging for a horrible experience. Oh man. Oh, sorry. I'm like really thirsty today. God. Oh. So let's see. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. And. Okay, yeah. So I was also surprised, actually, by the response I got for the last talk I did, where I actually talked about anime, specifically the ones I used to watch, like Bubblegum Crisis 2032, Record of Lost War, and those VODs actually got a lot of really good responses, and I was actually happy about that. So it's kind of like, that's a tough thing with YouTube, it's hit and miss, and sometimes you get a person who's searching for J-Jam and just happen to pop by, and you hope that you can actually be at least give them some help. But man, it's weird trying to talk about some of this stuff. It's like you don't know whether it's good people to be interested or not. So, but yeah, that's actually gotten, like, when we was only streamed like Thursday last week, and it got 8 views, which is great, and some good comments on it. Good thought too. So I'm happy with that. And the talking ones seem to be doing, the ones where I'm just doing a chatting stream are doing pretty good too. Interesting enough, as far as the games, I really thought when I streamed Rogue Company, it was actually going to be a big one, because I thought, oh hey, a third-person shooter, people like that, and those didn't really do much at all. So I don't know if it's because I just am not a great player, or the game itself wasn't interesting, or what, but I don't know. I'm still kind of playing around with what the game, with the stuff I like, and seeing what matches with other people like too. So that's kind of where I'm at. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, what's the temperature in this room? Good God. Oh, it's 89 degrees. Well, no wonder it's hot in here. Towards the anime fans. Just quick. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Because, like you're saying, that actually is like one of my better performing VODs, and it was just me talking about stuff I liked. If you haven't had the chance to see, there's a YouTuber I love watching, and I'll bring his stream up, not his stream, but his channel up, because I know most people are like, oh, don't show somebody else's streams, but like I very much believe in repping other people if I love their. Oh wait, whoops, sorry, it's keyboard shortcuts. Because when mentioning anime, this guy right here, Toy Galaxy, I believe his name is Dan Larson. He's done some of the best breakdowns on some of the anime that came over to the States and stuff. Like, he recently did, this was actually a US based one, Exo Squad, but you saw the Mystery of Daikon 4. There's one series he did where there's like a 3-part series about Robotech, I think. At least it was called Robotech here in the States. Yeah, here it is, right here. Oh, he's got five VODs in it. And it is such a fascinating, because he goes all the way back to this company, Harmony Gold, that wanted to buy the rights to actually show the VODs here. How was it 89 for you in Georgia? No, it's not outside 89. It's in my recording room here. I've actually got everything acoustically treated, so there's like no air movement, and the computer running. So as I record, it just gets hotter and hotter in here. Like right now, I got some sweat rolling down my back, man. But and I can't open the window either because my recording studio is in an office park. I've got the window sealed up with acoustic insulation, so I can't even open the window. I can open the door, but then you can hear the air conditioner, and it's like, well, I don't know, 6 of one, half a dozen of another, I guess. But I 100%, if you ever want to know about the history of some of the shows that came over to the US, like, this guy's history of Robotech is amazing. He even did one on like a lot of the regular series too, like G.I. Joe. Where is it here? Download reviews, oddities, histories. Here we go. 183 videos on the history of toys and shows, which is amazing. Like, go back here, Shogun Warriors. He did one on Voltron. Like, that was a really good one too. Oh yeah, DuckTales. This actually was the real Ghostbusters. Is really cool how he talked about getting the actors portray the people that were portraying the Bill Murray and those guys. Even just stuff like Choose Your Own Adventure. So he's got such a varied content pool, but they're all very cool. They all stick around about anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on it, the content. Or if he has to go in depth, he'll do multi-parters. But if you really love anime, I like this guy here, and the other one that I showed on my last stream, Mother's Basement. Like I said, the guy himself is okay, but his viewpoint, his critical views on anime, like he loves the shows and stuff, but he has no problem pointing out the flaws. It's wonderful, and I'll say this again, he's the reason I got into VTubing, because he did this whole episode on what VTubers are, and at the time I had no idea what the hell a VTuber was. I never heard of VTubing, and I started watching the VOD, and it was like, dude, this is actually kind of cool. And I'm like, what is this, anime? Is this something anime thing? And then I realized, oh wait, streamers. Okay, cool, that's cool. Because then you can use a persona, you can use an anime character if you want, or something like that, and then you don't have to dox yourself with your face or any information. And then he got to some of the clips of Ina and Galgura, but the one of Ina is really what got me, because it just talked about how she realized she was having such an impact on people picking up hobbies, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. And ironically enough, when I stopped the video, her stream was just starting up, and I'm like, I gotta watch this. And I'll be damned if she wasn't a good artist, man. Just watching her do 10-minute figure sketches, and I'm like, I used to do figure drawing, and it would take me an hour, and she's just sketching out in like 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. But she really got me down the rabbit hole, as they say, and it wasn't long after her that I watched Callie, and then the rest of Highlight Ian Myth, and I really started wanting to join in and do it. And I really, and it was I think I said in my debut video, Callie is really, I would say, is probably the biggest inspiration for me. I used to listen to her music before she became Maury Calliope, and there's a whole thing about you don't want to mention it and who they were before and stuff. She kind of doesn't hide it, but her rapping it's so recognizable, and I've been a fan of hers for years. And then to hear her as Callie and see her interacting with the other ladies in Myth, and just being able to do her rap music at such an international level, I'm like, finally, it's so cool to see somebody get that recognition finally. And the one song she released, I think it was last year, which was like, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's like, Welcome to the Mountaintop. It's a lot of people on Twitter got upset because it's Twitter, but they got upset on Twitter because she was calling out the people who don't make content, say they're VTubers, but they don't actually do anything except just post, stuff on Twitter. And she's like, don't just, type, make stuff. And when I heard that, I was like, that's right. Why don't I give it a shot? But me being me, and the fact that I've done software development, I of course had to plan everything out. And I ended up writing this, how many pages is it up to now? God, I'm not even sure anymore. It's basically a tech document. I have a lore document. I've got, character avatar design specifications. How many pages are we talking here? Jeez. It's still loading. Oh, that's not too bad. I cut it down to 10 pages. Okay. But yeah, I wanted to. Oh, wait, this isn't the full one. This just outlines the posing and the rigging and the actual design. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Oh no, that's right. I split them all up in 3 docs. Okay, yeah. So I even wrote up this this doc, like, just to kind of help explain, you know, my history and stuff like that. It took me long enough to even shop around for artists to part with, because it had been years since I did anything related to art, and I never learned how to draw anime. I was really more of a realistic artist, realistic style pencil sketcher. And even when I did oil paintings, it was like impressionist style, but nothing that I would say. Did you create decks for Vita? Yes, yeah, I did actually. Specifically, yeah. And I really don't know where the name came from. The last name I can tell you right now, Tokuyasu, because I'm a huge history buff as far as Japanese history, and the Sengoku period of Japanese history is my favorite. And I really, I mean, he's got good things and bad things. Well, all of the 3 unifiers did, but Tokugawa Ieyasu is one of my favorite of the unifiers, because it's his government that basically was the foundation up to the Meiji Restoration and all the way through. So my name is Tokuyasu, is Tokugawa Ieyasu. So I took it as a combined the 2 names together. Dex, I really wish I knew where that name. I just popped it in my head once. I was writing up, you know, how I was designing the character in my head, and I was writing down the descriptions and stuff, and the name Dex just popped in. So yeah, I specifically created Dex for VTubing. I never did streaming, in case you couldn't tell. I only started doing this. This Dex right here, and myself here, is the first time I've done streaming. Not today, but back in March was my first time ever streaming anything, and it was so, my god, so janky. Oh my god. And then trying to play Sekiro, not knowing how to optimize the game, not realizing that my internet wasn't as great as I thought it was, even though it's supposed to be, because I'm paying for it. But yeah, this is all brand new to me, and I hunted around for an artist to bring Dex visually. I originally wanted to have the same guy do their art and the rigging, but he wasn't doing the rigging anymore, but he was doing art. So he was partnered with somebody else, but the partner was too busy. So I'm like, okay, well, can you still do the art? And he's like, yeah, I have opening. I'm like, great. So, you know, Makanyan did my art, and I gave him this document and like about a half dozen maybe concept samples, like for the design, clothing design and stuff like that. And he sends me a message in Discord like, hey, you know, I thought I'd get a head start on it. What do you think about this? And I just looked at it. I'm like, son of a bitch, that's exactly what I was. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you did it, but you got it. You got the essence of the character I wanted. So we just went forward with that, and I was surprised. The rigging was hard too, because since the team that Makanyan was partnered with wasn't doing rigging at the time, I had to find somebody else. And so he sent me like a list of a few people he'd worked with, and I reached out to them, and one was kind of hemming and hawing and said, yeah, we might be able to do it. So I'm like, okay, great. So I penciled them in, and then like about 2 months, a month and a half before my debut date that I was announcing, nope, they wouldn't do it. So I'm like, son of a gun. So thankfully, Kevin X, who's my rigger, when I explained it to him, he's like, yeah, I can take it for you, no problem. So he squeezed me. He had an opening that popped up, and he squeezed me in and got me all rigged up right within like a month. So it was like a week before debut, I got the finished avatar. And while this is all going on, I had Media doing the channel art. So they're the ones that did the background art. They did the opening animation, the closing animation. I've got a really nice intermission one too. I'll swing that up for you just so you kind of get a feel. they were working, they were just plugging along the whole time. And normally they do a lot of like really, I don't want to say cutesy style, but it's a lot more pastel. There's a lot more like vibrant colors and stuff like that. And I'm like, I really want something that's a little more, the best I could describe it was like the end credit art style of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where it's like the silhouettes and the red, white, dark gray, and blacks. And I wanted something that was going to be really stylistically different from a lot of other streamers and VTubers. Because a lot of stuff, when I looked at it, felt like e-gamer style. And I'm like, I'm not an e-gamer. I just want to talk. I want to have fun. I want to entertain people. I don't really want to be competitively playing games. So I said, is there something that you could do? Like, if my channel ever becomes big enough and somebody asked me for merch, I want something that's going to be easy to move on. And so they created the circular logo for me with the Kitsune tails and stuff. And I'm like, it's perfect. It's great. But so I had 3 artists working all like together trying to get stuff done, and it was just like such a scramble at the end. And I was really debating on changing the debut date, because I'm like, I don't want to put these artists through such stress, because like I've done that myself. I was a graphic designer for over 20 years, and I'll tell you, I hated it when somebody would come to me and it's like, oh yeah, can you do this? And we got to do this and have it done by this date. And then all of a sudden the date changes, and oh my God, well, we need to change this, we need to change this, we need to change this, we need to change this. And I didn't want to do that to them. I've felt it, I've been that, and I didn't want to do that to them. But they were all great. And the music that I got for the channel, is it not even playing? Am I not even? Oh, there we go. For some strange reason, my volume went up. The music I actually got, that's something I didn't expect. What specifically? Oh, that I was a designer, or because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm middle aged. I'm in my 40s, so I'm probably one of the older VTubers out there. In this I should say, in this world's age, I'm about mid 40s, but my age as a Kitsune is like 638 years old. So. But yeah, I've done graphic design for over 20 years. I don't know if that's what you weren't expecting. I know people are usually surprised by it. They don't think that I've been doing it for that long. Oh man. I mean, I'll tell you, I remember Photoshop when it was Photoshop 1.5. Didn't even have the ability to type text into it at the time. It was destructive art. Any changes you made were baked right into the image, so they didn't have layers even at the time. Layers. Second oldest? Seriously? I'm impressed. I really thought I was the oldest. I mean, granted, I have no idea how old Ina Kosaka is. She talks it up, but yeah. I've used every version of Photoshop, going all the way back to Photoshop 1.5. 1.5 or 2. It was when I got into college. It was right before 2. I know we were. I still remember the funny thing was, I think it was my second year at college when Photoshop gained the text feature, and then when the next version came out, you could actually edit the text, and we were excited, like, oh my God, there's layers, and you can actually type text and edit it. Oh my God, it's funny that I've seen those changes. It's also sad. I can measure my life in Photoshop versions. Of course, I also remember when you can actually buy Photoshop and own the copy instead of having to pay a subscription. But hey, that's the way everybody does now. Let me see. Yeah, I went to college for graphic design. When I graduated, I did my third and fourth year at RIT, and I was actually one of 6. Was there 6 or 8 of us? Maybe there was 8. they didn't even have the new media coursework yet. So they were still just like print college stuff. So we were beta test students, and we started taking some of their new media courses. So we were the first to do their web design. We were learning to do multimedia design using, get this, Macromedia Director. And we were also using the pre-launch, the version, like one of the beta version of Adobe Flash, of Macromedia Flash. That was my fourth year, I think. And we were using Dreamweaver, not Adobe Go, not Go Live, thankfully, but Macromedia Dreamweaver. I think it was like version 1. But we were also learning how to type HTML and stuff like that. So it was weird, like being one of the new students doing stuff that everybody was like, "What? I never even heard of this." And it's like, so yeah, I remember when it was HTML1. I don't know if I still have my old HTML4 book. That thing was like literally 6, 7, 8 inches thick. And it was like, I don't even remember all the chapters anymore, but it was like all of the HTML coding for version 4.0 and what was going to DHTML. I was like, oh my God. Oh man, those are some of the crazy stuff, man. But yeah, I made the mistake of going freelance right out of college. Dumbest idea I've ever done. I skipped out on 3 job opportunities, 2 in New York City, 1 in Los Angeles, because I was stupid. But yeah, designer for over 20 years. That would have been, how long would it have been now? Technically, graduated in 98, 2008, 18. Okay, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 22. So 23 years, 24 years? Around about there, yeah. Oh man. I've used Adobe InDesign since day 1 when it came out for Mac. Dropped Quark real fast. If you don't know desktop publishing, no problem. Oh my God, I had one client that was my nightmare. I was so happy. Most of my clients were wonderful people. I'd done basic websites for them. Like one was a travel agency. One was what were they? Oh yeah, they were a office supply, local small business that did office furniture that you could lease. It was weird. I did a site for them. But this one person wanted a corporate ID design, a corporate identity design for their in-home nursing business. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I've done tons of corporate identity by that point. This client, they literally wanted me to take a logo. Like here's the thing. I did 22 designs. I counted out 22 designs. Normally my process was I do you 3 designs. Because by this point, I've taken 2 weeks to study your business, to study the rest of the businesses locally, in your industry. I've also gone to the trademark and the U.S. Trademark Office to make sure that there's no other logos similar to what I'm designing. And by that point, I'm giving you 3 designs that are unique and fit, and you have to pick from one of those. This client didn't want to do that. He did not want to do that at all. So what did they do? They said, no, I want you to take it back. This doesn't... They didn't understand the concept of what symbolic design is. I had done a house, and it was like a... not necessarily isometric, like looking down, but it was like you could see the front and the side of the house. And the windows weren't proportional to the size of the door because I wanted it to look right when you scale it down. They hated that. They're like, no, the windows need to be the proper size and they need to be lined up at the top of the door. And I'm like, you don't understand. This is symbolic. This is a representation, not an actual design. No, you need to make it correct. And then after 3 or 4 versions of that, they got mad because they didn't like the look of it. So they thought that the design for the in-home nursing was too cliche. So I'm like, okay, so I did a few more designs. And of course now we're up to like 12, 13 designs. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why the hell am I doing this? And by the time it got to the 22nd design, I was so stressed. She was like, look, here's a company, I want you to take their logo and make it mine. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? That's trademark infringement. She's like, are you accusing me of it sounds like you're accusing me of being a thief. I'm not a thief. You need to do what I'm telling you to do. I'm like, no, you know what? This ain't worth it. This is not worth my stress. This is not worth my stomach twisting in knots. I dropped her. I said, don't even pay me. I don't even want. I had spent 4 months with this client, and it was the first and only client I have literally dropped. Oh my God. I would never, and actually that was the last corporate ID design I've ever done because I just was like, no, we're not dealing with this anymore. Not anymore. And the funny thing was too, it was right around the time websites like Odesk, Freelancer, these global job posting sites started coming up. And I was like, okay, I'll get on there and try that too. And I'll tell you, when you have the cost of living of being in the United States, and you are literally competing against people from the Ukraine, from India, from other countries where the cost of living is vastly different. What I would charge, baseline $2,500 for a corporate ID design that has a manual supplied to you with your colors, your fonts, usage guidelines to make sure it's consistent along, all of it. These people were doing for $200, $300, and I'm like, I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that. That doesn't even pay it doesn't pay for anything. So, I started to watch that happen, and I started looking to work for companies at that point. I was like, you know what? I need stable income, so I started looking to work for agencies and ended up working for a marketing agency for about 5 years, I think. So it was doing car ads and stuff like that. Man, I tell you, to go from web design and corporate ID to doing car ads and newspapers, it's like, yeah, you know what? A living is a living. But man, I tell you, I've seen it all. I swear, I've seen people like, they want you to steal from other designs, and you say no, and they're like, well, I'm gonna force you to do it anyway. And then I've seen, just take the clip art and put it on. I'm like, you want me to use clip art? Like, my God, I can't use clip art. It's just, I need to design it in Illustrator. Let me open up freehand, for God's sakes. Let me just do the vector art. Nope, we've got a disc over here with clip art on it. I'm like, all right, fine. It's a paying gig. But yeah, the last 7 years I've been working for a printing company. That's where I'm doing interactive project management and design. Yeah, I handle their social media, and I did design their website, and I actually do some video production for them, and user experience design for the internal software. So yeah, it's nice to actually get a steady paycheck and use your skills you went to college for crying out loud. Not have to worry about marketing yourself, which ironically enough, doing VTubing ties back into that, because it's like you have to market the hell out of yourself. You got to have the content, you got to put stuff out there, and that has been the hardest thing for me, unfortunately, and I'm working on it. Hopefully I'll get better. I know I will. I have to. I'm not giving up on this. I'm going to keep on doing this no matter how difficult it turns out to be. I really want to keep doing this because it's fun. You get to meet people. Is your voice on their account? What do you mean by that? Is my voice on their account? On the company I work for right now? Oh man, sorry, I gotta keep drinking. It's like my throat. Yeah. I've done a few things. I've voiced a few things. But to not dox myself, I also do voice acting. And that's my second job that I do. So I've been doing that for 9 years now. I've done e-learning, corporate narration. I've done some radio commercial stuff, audiobook. So yeah. Will I be watching TV one day and hear your voice just... Nothing national. I did a corporate promo video for an airline, a Southern airline, a few 4 years ago. That's about the only thing I've actually done that's like really like broadcast wide. But the stuff I've done is like tri-state area. Most of the work I used to do was like e-learning until like, God, audiobooks took off. Now like I'm probably doxing myself. Jeez, I try not to, like, because I don't want to. I'm not stupid enough to think like, oh yeah, oh my God, my name is huge. It's like, no, please. I'm at best like a D or an E level. I would like to get some casting on a show. But that's the hard part, is trying to, especially since everything that's happened, everything changed. Before that, they wanted you like in the studio for recording, and now a lot of production studios don't want that. Like, they're fine with you working from home, but a lot of the people that work for them have already had contact, and that's been the hardest part, is trying to figure out how to break into that. It's really in the entertainment, anything in the entertainment industry is like, it's who you know. They'll help you out. You have to prove yourself, and I'll tell you, like, the audiobook industry is just as hard, if even harder. It is acting. It is very much performative, and the publishers will not work with you unless you have professional experience, and you have to meet them. It's still very much, they want to meet you in person. And so the publishers I work with, it took a lot of work to meeting them at trade shows and stuff, and getting the chances to talk with them. But yeah, it's a slow process. It's a very, a very slow process. But supposedly, I hope it happens. It'd be great. One of the audiobook authors team I work with, they're trying to pitch their series to a couple different. They want to get it made over a TV show. They said they'd put me in the voice of the artificial intelligence. I'm like, that would work. Although I'd rather be one of the other characters than with like this nerdy programmer. He's socially awkward. I'm like, yeah, that fits me. That fits me better. But I can do the AI too. We'll see if it ever happens. I don't know. I think they said they were doing that like a year or two ago. Nothing's happened since, but I hope it'll be nice. It'd be nice to have that feather in the cap. But right now, I don't think you'll ever, unless it's something that somebody is cycling through. I never signed any contracts that are in perpetuity. I never do that. Because that's the most dangerous thing as a voice actor, is signing for something that could be used in perpetuity. Because if they're still using your commercial, which is weird if they are doing it 5 years down the road, but all of a sudden you take a competitor's product and all of a sudden they hear, wait, you're voicing this other guy's stuff? Why would we have you voice both sides? So, we usually try to make sure our stuff is, cycles out like a year or two. But there is an active, like, cutoff point. Sparkling water. Oh, jeez, careful. I'll tell you, the hard part is trying to get representation. That's the hardest part. Like my commercial, oh my God, my commercial demo is like 5 years old. I really got to get that thing updated. But because like, you don't really need agents nowadays. They are helpful, but the hard part is knowing who and what to promote to, and that's really where I flounder a lot. Because it's like when you work in one industry for long enough, that's it really well, but you try to branch out and it's like, well, you're back at square one again. Like, so yeah, that's the tough part. So I don't think you have to worry about hearing all of a sudden. It might be cool, but I have not done any nationwide commercials. I haven't done anything like that in a long time. I have now if you're in Italy. I have done some stuff over there for the English dub stuff for like, was it Barilla Pasta? And there was a national power company I did something for. remember what specifically it was, but it was basically the English versions of their work. Oh my god, that's hard too, because when you're trying to say Italian names and they're so specific on how you pronounce it, I felt so bad for the casting. I felt so bad for the scriptwriter because they kept stopping me saying, no, it's pronounced this way. 10 times it took me just to get the business name, because I was going, the company name was, I think it was like NL, and I kept saying NL, and they're like, no, it's NL. And I'm like, oh my god, you're putting the accent on the first, the stress on the first syllable, not the second, and it's like, I just kept screwing it up. I felt so bad. It was driving me nuts. And I could see the frustration on her face too, because it was a Zoom call, and I was connected through Source Connect, which connects studios together. I felt so bad watching the frustration on her face. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna get a pickup from these guys. Ironically, they did actually. They did hire me back for 2 more gigs. I can't remember. Thankfully, that one only had one pronunciation of the company in it. Which I was so grateful for. Oh my god. Man. I did one video game about 6 years ago. Again, that was an English dub for a German game. But it was a math game for helping autistic children, which was really cool. So I got to dub a character for that. Thankfully, it wasn't straight ADR like you do for anime. We have to match the lip flaps. They were just like, we just want you to capture the same spirit as the German voice actor. I'm like, perfect, I got it. So that was an experience. But the vast majority of stuff I was doing was e-learning. I did some for the U.S. Navy, I think. I did one or two modules for the U.S. Navy. I did one for Mercedes-Benz and their dealerships, and one for BMW, I think. And there was Golisano Institute for Sustainability. I think I did. That was like a 22 module learner. Like, oh my god, they had me recorded at home, not in the studio. That was a crazy one. What else did I do? I've been all over the place, but nothing I don't think you would have heard. I mean, recent stuff would be audiobooks, but I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to completely dox myself. I've already done enough. Oh, man. That's all right. So I pretty much have come to the conclusion that, and this is kind of, it's the same thing as like using what we call a nom de vox, which is like a nom de plume, you know, a stage name, a pen name. People are going to figure out who you are. It's the internet. There are people out there that like thrive on trying to figure out who you are. And it's like, I'm just like, I'll try to keep it as quiet as possible, if people figure it out, please don't, for anybody watching the VOD, please don't spread it around, if I say it, it's one thing, but right now I don't really want to I'm trying to build my business on myself and not trying some thinking that this is going to get me something, because I don't like doing that. I want to earn my whatever success I have at this on my own, but I think there are some times where I watch some other VTubers who keep saying, oh, we're voice actor, I'm a voice actor, and then you look up like on IMDb and you see one thing they've done, or you do a search for their name, and they basically make it easy to find out who they are, and you're like, you've done a lot of fan stuff, which is cool, but you've only done one thing you were paid for? Like, okay, great, but you're marketing yourself as a pro. Like, I get it, but pros typically are people that have done like make the majority of their money from paid gigs, and I do this full time. So this is one of my, I do 2 business, I do 2 jobs. I do graphic design and I do voice acting. So like both are full-time salaries. So it's like, so I really don't want to be one of those people that, like I said, I'm not in any way, shape, or form famous. I don't believe for 1 second I will ever be. I don't know if I want to be, because then that has its own whole new set of problems and difficulties, which, you think you want the success, and I do want success. I do want to be profitable, you know. But on the other hand, I don't want all the difficulties that come with it. The loss of anonymity. Like, you hear horror stories about Tom Hanks going to Disney World and being mobbed with his family. And it's like his brother. What is his name? What is his brother's name? Nathan? Yeah, his brother does all the voice acting for Tom Hanks in like pickups and games and stuff because he does a really great job with his brother. But his brother can go around wherever he wants to because nobody knows him. And that's one of the benefits of being a voice actor is like most people don't learn who you are. You know, they might love your character. They might love what you've done, but Jim Hanks? I think you might be right. Hang on. I gotta turn off the shortcuts. Jeez. Yep, you're right. Jim Hanks. Thank you. That was gonna drive me nuts. That was gonna drive me nuts for the rest of the night. I'd be like laying in bed going, who the hell was the Hanks? Who was the Hanks brother? Who was it doing? But yeah. I love what I do. It's fun, you know? And it's frustrating too because you see, ironically enough, I've seen it for both graphic design and I've seen it for both voice acting, where you see these articles come out and they say, oh, fastest way to make money, graphic design. Oh, fastest way to make money, buy a microphone, set up in your kitchen and do voiceover. It's like, no, it's not like how it works. You're not going to get paid gigs. You're not going to be considered serious. Like you have to, it's acting. You need training. You need to be able to script read. You need to be able to sight read. You need to be able to interpret the copy properly. You have to make the copy your own so it's believable. You can't also overact because that's too easy. Like you're not acting to the back row, as one of my coaches used to say. There's a lot of things to it. I will say, if you're interested and anybody who watches the VOD's interested, there's a great indie movie that was made called I Know That Voice. And it was put out and written produced by the guy who voiced Bender on Futurama. He's obviously done tons of characters and stuff like that. And I'm blanking right now. John DiMaggio. And it was a phenomenal video because he's a voice actor. He's a working full-time voice actor, career voice actor. He got all of his friends who are voice actors to also talk in the show about the history of it, what their experiences are, what it's like to be in the studios. And it's great because it starts all the way back with like, not necessarily like, it's like deals with like the silhouette puppetry from like China. It's the animation style in the beginning of I think the second Kung Fu Panda movie, where you use silhouettes with backlit to show them, and then it moved up to vaudeville, which is really where a lot of acting came from, and it talks about the progression, which is so cool, and. But then the really cool part is it talks about the importance of casting directors, about acting, about mocap. It talks about all of the different teams that work together, the script writers, and how shows work, what it's like to be in the studio. So I wholeheartedly, if anybody really is ever interested in what voice acting really is I Know That Voice. That's a great show. And the cool thing too was John DiMaggio fronted the money for himself. He paid for the whole thing himself. So I had no problem buying it because I thought it was a great movie. There was another one too. And it was put out. It was more of a fictional show, a fictional movie. But it was oh yeah, I think it was In a World. I think that was the name of it. And supposedly they had fictional characters, but the work that they did as a voice actor in the studios and stuff was 100% real. But basically the main character, she was like the daughter of the guy who was basically the stand-in for the guy who used to go, In a World, you know. And I'm blanking on his name because he did a Geico commercial where they put him in front of it. Don LaFontaine. That's his name. Don LaFontaine. Amazing voice of God. really mourned when he passed, because he was great. By all accounts, he was a wonderful guy to get to know. He looked like he was unapproachable, but if you were a newbie in voice acting, he was like so willing to help you out and guide you and stuff, and that was awesome. Like, he loved seeing new people come in that were excited and passionate for it. So, like, the main character is supposedly a daughter of a guy who's like Don LaFontaine, and she doesn't want to ride his name, and she does she's like an accent coach, I think, is what she is in the movie. But then one of the guys at the recording studio she's with is like, hey, do you want to just record this quick script? She's like, yeah, sure. So she records it, and she gets cast. And she's like, oh, what do I do? And they're like, well, Hillary will work with you. And the whole movie is her slowly beginning to build up an audience and to learn and to grow her business. And she starts getting away from the accent dialect. But at the end of it, she ends up going back to the accent, I think. But it was really phenomenal. Even got to the point where she was up for SAG award or something like that. There was some award ceremony, and I can't remember who got it or what, but it was a good movie too. And I think it was directed by Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, Sofia Coppola. I think she's the one that directed it. I know she directed another one that I loved, which was Lost in Translation with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. But this one, I know that voice. It was a really cool. It was fictional, again, fictional, not nonfiction. Like, I know that voice. But those are two movies I absolutely love, and I 100% recommend them too. Even the fictional one, because it did have a lot of accurate portrayal of voice acting, and you just don't see that. You see people like, the way you see them treating, flipping, going crazy, leaning into getting too close to the microphone. Oops. Just not doing proper mic technique, all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I recommend those two if anybody's interested. I should remember to put links in the description, I think, of this VOD when I archive it. Let me see what else. Can't think off the top of my head. I had a thought about something and it just zipped my mind. I don't know. All right, it'll come back to me at some point. Maybe another stream I'll actually think about talking about it, whatever it was. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you have any other questions or if you have comments, but I'm gonna end up wrapping it up since we're close to 2 o'clock. If that's all right with you. I don't mind. I could talk. If I give you a topic, and I can pretty much talk about it probably for hours. Because Lord knows I need the practice. But one last cup of sake here. And did I finish it? Nope. This is Seikyo Takahara Junmai. I love. What's this? Why did I get an alert? Opera G. What the? All right. Well, just so you know, if you do decide to stop by, I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday nights, 12 midnight to 2 usually. I try to do games occasionally. I'm trying to get more into the chatting because, like I said, I'm trying to practice on having conversations and talking and stuff. But I'm going to be doing, I think, Shifu on Wednesday, continuing the gameplay. So if you want to stop by for that, great. If not, I understand totally. I try to put out notifications. My schedule's on Twitter. I have a Twitter and link there. I try to put up posts at least a couple hours before the stream. So, feel free to stop by again. I'd love to see you again. I'd love to have you come and talk. So I appreciate it. Thank you again for stopping by tonight. I mean, you stopped. You found me for the hey jelly, but you stayed for the chat. And hopefully it was entertaining enough. But thank you again. I so appreciate it. You have no idea because I needed the practice. And thank you to anybody else that happens to stop by and watch this VOD. Hope you'll watch it through. If not, again, I totally understand. But I hope you actually enjoy it. And thank you again to everybody. Thank you again to Vucky ABX. And anybody else that chooses to watch it, leave a comment or, like it, or, anything. I appreciate it. And I will hopefully see you guys Wednesday night. So take care.